Hi Freedom Friends! I want to thank you for joining me for these craft videos throughout the summer. This is our final week of the Incredible Faith series, and will also be the final week of the craft videos for the summer. So this week, our superhero is the most important superhero of all, and that is Jesus, because he saved us from something that no one else could. So we're going to make a salvation bracelet to remind us of the way that Jesus has saved us and the faith that we can have in him. So let's jump right in. The supplies for this craft include yarn and a black bead, red bead, white bead, yellow bead, and green bead. So first off, we are going to cut enough of the yarn to fit around your wrist. So go ahead and measure how tight you're going to need that, and leaving a little bit of extra room for us to be able to tie it off at the end. Next we're going to tie a knot, and instead of tying it on the very end of the string, we're going to tie it about 1/3 of the way in. And this is going to hold the beads in place since there are just a couple of them. Now, each of the colors represent a different part of our salvation story with Jesus. So feel free to pause the video and look up the Bible verses as you see them come up on the screen. That way you can follow along with me. The black reminds us that our hearts are dark and full of sin. We are all sinners, and sin separates us from our holy God. Because God is so holy, we can't come into his presence without being cleansed from our sin. And the only way to be cleansed is by paying the price through death. So Jesus shed his blood and died in our place to pay for the penalty of sin. White represents salvation. Because Jesus died in our place, God forgives us and sees us as clean and without spots of our sin. If you will confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Gold represents heaven. The Bible tells us that in heaven we will walk the streets of gold. And when we are saved, God gives us eternal life. That means that our physical bodies will die, but our souls will live with God in heaven forever. Green reminds us of things that are alive and growing. As Christians, we can grow in our knowledge and love for Christ by being in the Word and praying. Once all the beads are on, we'll go ahead and tie the other end. Finally, we're just going to measure it on your wrist, see about how big you want it to be so that it can still slide easily over your hand once you're finished tying it. So do a couple knots here just to make it nice and secure. And then the last step is just going to be cutting off those long ends after tying it off, unless you want to leave them in case you need to make it bigger or smaller.